Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Pittsburgh. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Paul Cheon. We've got Adam Van Fleet, our first seed, playing against Bronson. Did you say it's Gervasi?
Yes, Gervasi.
Gervasi. Mardu Vehicles versus Black Green Delirium. Of course, Adam's going to be on the play because of having the higher seed.
Number 1 seed, Adam leading off with the Swamp. Does he have the fatal push? If he does he want to save it? Yeah, so going back to Adam's list, he is playing the Mind Rack Demons, which is a card that's not commonly seen anymore. I think a lot of people are just kind of too afraid to have it basically get unlicensed disintegration. Spending 4 mana on a card that dies to a 3-mana spell doesn't really feel great, especially when it doesn't have an impact when it enters the battlefield. Doesn't give you as much value as a lot of the other options. But it is pretty difficult for the Black-Green Delirium deck to actually get Delirium.
This game's over, Paul. Adam just missed his second land drop, and that was one drop for Bronson, and now let's see what he adds to the board here.
What?
A veteran motorist. Well, not you, Adam. Bronson gets to scry 2 cards to the top. Why not? Let's just go ahead and do that, and then pass the turn
And he's
back.
got 2 clues. Perhaps Adam mulliganed? Because he's not discarding.
No, we had a good run.
Right.
This is why we play best 2 out of 3, I suppose.
Yeah. It looks like he likely mulliganed to 5 or something along those lines.
He had to have, yeah. In the meantime, Bronson correctly assessing that it is time to put pedal to metal, and he just made it an emblem with Gideon, and Bronson says, this game's easy. Yeah, we know
his
Adam.
hand.
We know Adam. We noticed that there weren't any extra lands on it. At least he has a little smile for us there, but now he's got his work cut out for him. He does get to play sideboarded games, which my assumption is that benefits him. I don't know if that's true.
I actually think the Black-Green Delirium deck is more favored in the first game.
Oh, no.
The Mardu Vehicles deck, a lot of the ones that I've seen so far, has a really, really good sideboard plan for Black-Green Delirium. Black-Green Delirium really struggles against Planeswalkers, and the current versions of the Black-Green Delirium decks don't really have a lot of outs to them. So I think what many Vehicles' plans are after sideboard is to board up to 6 Planeswalkers and multiple Fumigates.
That's weird. But effective.
Yes. Hey, it looks like we have a real game here.
Yeah, this one actually has lands on both sides of the battlefield. This is Robert Beatty playing against Daniel Fournier. Daniel's the lone, I believe the lone Jeskai player left in the tournament.
Yeah.
Our top 8 is dominated by Black-Green and Vehicles.
Yeah. Currently, we have 5 Black-Green decks, 2 Mardu Vehicles decks, and 1 copy of the Jeskai copycat deck.
And here he is. And things aren't looking fantastic for him. He feels like every time we watch him, he's just really wanting that 1 copy of Fumigate in his deck.
Yeah, I think had I come to this tournament, and you had to have expected a lot of Black-Green, Fumigate is something that you probably wanted to play maybe 2 copies of, potentially a 3rd after sideboard. But Daniel top-8'd, so clearly it's still been good enough.
Yeah, this is an absolute house here. Look at this. Daniel Fournier taking Infinite. He's facing down a Walking Ballista. And I think that if Robert wants, he can even play a Greenbelt Rampager post-combat here.
Yeah. Although it doesn't really look like that's necessary. He just already has an overwhelming board.
Yeah, maybe he'd want to play it in case Daniel has a Gear Hulk or something like that.
The thing about this game is I don't even see a card in Daniel's graveyard.
Yeah, there might be one, but there
spell?
probably isn't. Oh, good, clean fun here in the top 8 so far. We've got some significantly. This was, by the way, Daniel's draw step was an Anticipate.
Very lopsided.
He sees a land and a pair of Saheeli Rise. All right, Saheeli Rai and land are about the only things that he drew that entire game. And that isn't going to get the job done. Robert Beatty with nice little curve out.
Just a typical draw.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Daniel had no interaction.
Yeah, it wasn't anything insane, but it turns out when your opponent does literal nothing all game.
You know, I was really excited going into this top 8. You have all these players who've played 15 rounds, grinded through the tournament. I'm assuming they had a lot of tight matches, and I was expecting some good matches, high-quality Magic. And so far, we haven't been able to see that, unfortunately. All right. So Adam Van Fleet hopefully will be able to play more than one land in this upcoming game.
Yeah, he showed us his hand on the camera and was just like,
check this out.
Nothing to do.
And Adam Van Fleet was the first seed. He has to have played this matchup a lot. He has to be aware that the Mardu Vehicles deck is looking to kind of play the role of the control deck, which is really weird coming from a deck that plays a bunch of one-drops. But I think that was the plan that Marcio Carvalho also ran at the last Pro Tour. Basically just Planeswalker control. Adam Van Fleet currently only has access to 2 copies of Tuta Slaughter in the sideboard. I imagine he probably wants to bring that in.
Those are his best ways to interact.
He has 0 copies of Ruinous Path.
Okay.
So if Bronson just plays a Gideon and can protect it, it's going to be really hard for Adam to kind of punch through that. And yeah, Bronson, it looks like he's just fully committed to this transformational sideboard. As he's playing 2 Chandras, he's playing an extra land as well in the sideboard to go along with the 2 Fumigates. He's also got a copy of Sky Sovereign Console Flagship. Not sure if he's going to bring that in this matchup.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah. Might be a little too heavy on the 5 drops. Yeah, I was actually talking to Matthew Severa, who won Grand Prix Denver with Mardu Vehicles and chose to kind of run it back for this tournament. And I was just talking to him about kind of his matchups, and he said he was 5-0 against black-green variants and said that he actually thought it was an actively good matchup, especially with this sideboard plan.
God.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Curious to see what Adam Van Fleet's sideboard plan is. All the cards that I see in the main deck already seem pretty strong in the matchup. It looks like he is playing the Mind Rack Demons with 1 copy of Ishkana, and he has a second one in his sideboard, so that one has to be coming in. He also has 2 copies of Kalitas, Trader of Get, so that's also likely going to be coming in.
Does he have anything that's just bad in the main? You know, where he's just like, I just don't want, get these out of here. They're terrible against this.
So it's possible a Tireless Tracker is not the best card.
A little too slow?
Right, but at the same time, if the Mardu Vehicles is on this plan of Planeswalkers and trying to play more of a controlling deck, then the trackers are actually good. So it's kind of, Adam has to just try to figure out what Bronson's game plan is going to be after sideboard. He doesn't know that Bronson is all in on the board an extra land, go up to 6 Planeswalkers, Fumigate plan. But he is on the play, so which makes it more likely that the trackers will do some work. On the draw, it might be a little bit too slow.
Man, how does Adam smile this much here after that first game? He must be a pretty chill dude.
I mean, he's qualified for the Pro Tour.
Fair point.
That's a good feeling. A lot of people, that's all they want to do. That's the most important thing when you want to when you play in a Grand Prix.
You are right. That is a huge, huge incentive to make it to the top 8. I mean, there's a lot of money on the line. There's pro points if you're chasing the pro points. But, yeah, that Pro Tour invite is a big piece of the puzzle. And look at this. He's already has more lands than he did in the first game.
Yeah, he is guaranteed to have more lands in play this time.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
See if Bronson has as quick as a start as he did last time. Yeah, quicker.
Well, yeah.
This time he could have 3 power, and last time he only had 1 power on turn 1. Or maybe it was 2 power, but no.
All right.
No reason to fire it off immediately, right?
No. You just kind of wait to see if Bronson does have the 2-mana artifact. If he doesn't, he's pretty happy to take 1 here.
Well, it looks like Adam's just going to go ahead and trade anyway.
Yeah.
I figured he would have just taken it, too.
Yeah.
Wow, no follow-up for Bronson? How is that possible?
Well,
he just has removal spells in hand or something?
Yeah, he might have removal spells. He might also have some Planeswalkers in hand. Like I said, a lot of the time you want to just basically kind of turn into the control deck.
Right. All right, well, he's got Pia Nalar on turn 3, so that's a nice addition to his board. And reasonable against Walking Ballista.
Yeah, Adam had a replacement Ballista there. And on top of that, he is kind of leaning harder on just being able to get Delirium. So getting that Ballista in the yard, he now already has 3 types in his graveyard. Three mana.
Rishkar.
Okay.
Bing, bing. Well, now that counter looks really nice on that walking ballista. He can just take out that Thopter if he wants.
Yeah, he can also.
Thing's annoying.
Yeah, he can also play a 2-drop here.
Yeah. And still take out the Thopter, but no.
Yeah.
No, he still has that mana available. Things are looking good for Adam.
Ooh, and as you can see, a Fumigate in Bronson's hand.
You were right, Paul. He did bring in that much more controlling sideboard plan. Really kind of throws a curveball at this Black-Green Delirium deck.
Yeah, and I think that is what you want to be doing, especially when you're on the draw. The green-black deck is the one that's going to try to get ahead, put more permanents on the board because they're going first. So Fumigate is the type of card that no other card can help you get out of.
Fumigate flying onto your screen there, in case you don't know what it does. Looks like Fumigate's not the primary game plan here, though, for Bronson, because he's going to start using removal spells to just pick off creatures on a one-for-one basis.
Yeah.
And the Walking Ballista is the target. You can't be thrilled with the result of that. He lost his Thopter. He's going to lose a life, and it's still just a one-for-one from Adam's perspective. So, maybe he just didn't want that thing to get out of hand. I don't know.
Yeah, and he also doesn't really have a good attack here either.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. Unless he's got another removal spell. But he doesn't. He's got a Thraben Inspector.
Perhaps he wanted to induce Adam into playing another threat here, because if Adam is aware of the Fumigate plan, he could just kind of sit back on Walking Ballista and just continue to pump it up.
Yeah, that could be. Though, don't you just let him? Like, you say, okay, fine.
Yeah, probably.
You
because
leave
you have
4
the
mana
fatal push.
empty, and then I'll just,
Right.
But the way that Bronson's playing this, he's just kind of ignoring the Fumigate in his hand, just playing creatures, drawing cards, picking off his opponent's spells. But that's kind of the game plan that the Black-Green Delirium deck excels at. So we'll see how this actually pans out for him.
At least the Thraben Inspector is basically just free. It replaces itself. I don't know if Bronson has a 5th land or if he just wants to be looking for more Planeswalkers. So I think playing the Thraben Inspector is okay. It also gives him the ability to double block the Rishkar if Adam chooses to attack.
Yeah, the board is certainly stable from Bronson's perspective.
Okay.
Okay, well, now he's got a juicy little target here to fumigate, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, the problem with fumigating here, though, is Adam Van Fleet will still get 2 zombie
He'll
tokens.
get both zombies?
Yes.
Oh, no. All right, well, how about you crack a clue first and then proceed? This is where he's going to wish he had that
the fatal
push, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he was possibly a little hasty on using the fatal push because it didn't really do a whole lot getting rid of the ballista. If he cracked the clue and used it on the Kalitas, then the fumigate would have been a lot better. Now he has to actually look for a removal spell first before casting that fumigate.
Yeah, killing Kalitas is hard.
Yeah. 4 copies of Disintegration, and it looks like...
Does he have any grasps?
No, I think that's a little too difficult on the mana.
They don't play that, right?
Yeah, yeah. He's got up to 3 fatal pushes after sideboard.
Is he double chumping here?
Yeah.
Well, this does solve his problem, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Yeah, he's going to make 2 zombies now, and then he gets to untap and fumigate. I mean, Adam, I think, is going to probably sort out that this is the case, but...
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Adam has to be very suspicious of that double block.
Like, what the?
Yeah, he has to know that a fumigate's coming.
Yes.
And so
he's just going to have to pass the turn back.
He really shouldn't be playing anything else unless it's like a Planeswalker or something.
Yeah, and he's just going to go land go. Yep. This really does price Bronson into firing off the fumigate, but that was a cool block.
Yeah. It would have been kind of funny if Adam just had to transgress the mine after the attack.
That would have been savage. All right. Fumigato. See you later. What is he going to do?
Oh, so he's sacking a zombie, so Bronson gains 1 less life off the fumigate.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
The smallest of edges.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Gotta appreciate the little things.
This is the big question, though, is what's the follow-up play for Adam? Because if he can just immediately build out a good board, then the fumigate isn't a big deal. But as you can see, by leading on Rishkar, that's not what he was going to do here.
Right. So the ideal thing to do here post-fumigate is, of course, drop a Planeswalker. If he plays like a Chandra or something, that would be fantastic. But I don't think he's drawn any.
Yeah, he's got part of his game plan set up, but he's missing a critical piece in the Planeswalker. So he's just going to play the PNLR here.
The thing is, I understand the kind of idea of turning into a control deck, but you just have too many aggressive cards.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're just not going to have a good follow-up to the after the Wrath effect.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's an effective strategy, but it is a little precarious for these aggro decks. I mean, there's not a lot of great game plans that start off with turn 1 Toolcraft Exemplar, turn 5 Fumigate.
Right. I feel like Toolcraft Exemplar likely should have been a card that one of the first cards you take out if you're on this game plan, especially on the draw.
Yeah. All right, I think Needle Spires is going to get frisky here.
Yeah,
That's
Adam
a
Van
big hit.
Fleet has 0 black mana up, so it's very safe.
And then Bronson's draw step was just another Thraben Inspector. And he's even got another land, it looks like, to be able to sacrifice that clue. So a productive turn mana-wise there for Bronson.
So very aggressive attack there from Bronson. I do see a DePaula in his hand that he chose to not play.
He chose to not play it and get in with the... Uh-oh, this is 6 mana. A Walking Ballista. Well, at least it can kill the Thopter, and it will keep that Needle Spires at bay as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice play here from Adam.
Yeah, pretty tricky spot for Bronson. That Walking Ballista is going to get value no matter what. Even if he has a removal spell, Adam can just use the Ballista to kill both of the creatures on the board.
He's like, you want to shoot this thing down? You know, Adam just takes it. He's like,
I'm at 18. I feel pretty safe.
yeah.
Oh, no.
What? That's not a big deal.
No.
Look at Adam. He's like, sure.
I'm just saying this is a very rough spot for Bronson.
Yeah, Bronson is just hard casting 1 toughness creatures into an active Walking Ballista with no answer. I think he feels like he needs to scry for an answer.
Yeah, that's definitely just for the scry effect.
Brutal. Well, he is digging, though, isn't he?
Yeah. Look at this.
Did he find it? I didn't see if he put it on top or not.
I think so. Look at this Mardu control deck.
What is going on?
Oh, that's a Gideon that enters the battlefield. I would guess that Bronson will immediately go for the emblem here and then force Adam to kind of decide what he wants to do with the Walking Ballista.
Basically, he would force him to kill the Thopter and the Motorist immediately. But it leaves behind a reasonable board.
Yeah, it would leave Bronson with basically two copies of 2/2/3 Thraben Inspectors. Okay. So instead, Bronson opting to just make a Knight Ally token here. If Adam is concerned about the emblem of the Gideon emblem, he could choose to just shoot the Gideon for 1, keeping it at 3. But Bronson has amassed a pretty big board state here.
I mean, look at all those lands he's got.
Yeah.
He's got 9 lands on the battlefield, and he used every bit of mana last turn somehow. He went Veteran Motorist, Thraben Inspector, Crack the Clue, play Gideon. Like, this is the aggro deck? What is going on?
Okay, what is happening here?
Well, it looks like Adam has decided to start mowing down threats.
Wonder if there's a big follow-up here.
To the slaughter.
Oh, and he did bring in
There's
the to the slaughters. He has Delirium.
Just those 3 cards right there give him Delirium.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
What a turn. What a turnaround from Adam.
Whew.
It looked like Bronson was just about to start coming back in this game. And to the slaughter doing a ton of work.
Not anymore.
Ooh. Does he have a
It's
fatal push too?
on top of everything else?
Wow.
Good God. Adam Van Fleet's like, I was planning this turn the whole game, guys.
He's like, I have it all.
Holy smokes.
What are your thoughts?
Well.
Yeah.
I mean, Bronson's just like, look, I want to get rid of this Walking Ballista. Would you like to kill my Needle Spires? I assume Adam's not going to bite there, because if he doesn't have much else to do, that's a good place to put his mana, and that won't happen again.
Exactly. Adam's at such a high life total, he can just afford to take the 4 damage here.
Now, this game has been much better than the first game.
Oh, absolutely. Oh.
Winding Constrictor, and he even has the mana to start piling counters on the Walking Ballista.
Winding Constrictor plus the Walking Ballista.
GG.
Ooh, I wonder if he's just going to take the damage here again.
I mean, he could put the couple of counters on. He could start moving some stuff around.
I do think...
I would assume he just takes it, though.
I don't know what else Adam has in his hand, but I would have been tempted to just add the counters onto the Walking Ballista right away.
I would, too.
Yeah. You have the mana from the Rishkar. You're not really going to be blocking with the Walking Ballista. And if Bronson drew a removal spell, you might not be able to get that value right away.
See if he gets punished here. See, and this is where Adam goes, ooh, oops, maybe I should have done this earlier.
Right. If Bronson drew a Fatal Push to kill, for example, the Winding Constrictor, you get a one less counter, etc.
Yeah, or just kill the Walking Ballista itself.
But it looks like Bronson's just on all lands, and now we have a Walking Ballista with a Winding Constrictor against an aggro deck.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about that Winding Constrictor is I think when people first saw it for Standard, they were like, well, I want to go off with this, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to do, like, big, stupid things. But it turns out that, like, Winding Constrictor Rishkar is, like, you've done plenty.
Right.
You don't need to to have it happen multiple times over the course of a game. Just this combination right here is really powerful.
Yeah. There's basically like a pre-constructed counter deck that they printed that they made in Ether Revolt, which basically completely shifted how people play the green-black decks.
Yep. A little bit awkward there for Adam. His land, unfortunately, near the battlefield tapped, but he still wanted to add a Grim Flare. It left him with only 3 mana, so he's not going to be able to put any more counters on his Walking Ballista, at least this turn.
I think it likely would. Oh, no. 3 mana?
It's another to the Slaughter that he's playing.
Okay, so he's playing that in response, so he doesn't take 3 damage, but he lets it resolve and brings back the Scrap Heap Scrounger to make sure the 3 damage gets through.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
all on the stack.
So the Unlicensed Disintegration just hung out on the stack.
Right.
Adam Van Fleet played to the Slaughter. It resolved. Scrap Heap Scrounger went to the yard. Still on the stack. Bronson brought it back. And now it's going to resolve, and since there's an artifact, it will knock Adam down to 7. A little tricky on the timing there, but pretty cool stuff from both of our players. But still, it still looks good for Adam, though his life total has gone down to 7 now.
It has. So, yeah, in that scenario the turn before, I know Adam wants to get aggressive.
Oh, he's got lethal here, doesn't he? That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah,
13.
It's 13, so.
Bronson doesn't really have any life gain in the main deck.
No.
Or anywhere.
Or removal spells.
Yeah.
And once the damage hits, you can just be like,
exactly.
Pew, pew, you're gone. All right, looks like he's shooting his lands at this point because Bronson is picking them up. So that means we get game 3 here in the quarterfinals in Pittsburgh. Let's jump over to Daniel Fournier, our lone Jeskai copycat, also our lone non-Mardu Vehicles, non-black-green deck in the top 8, playing against Robert Beatty, who, as you may have surmised, is playing black-green.
Ooh, really interesting.
Wow, that's
board
a lot
state
of
we're
plants.
onto.
Lots of plants for that Greenbelt Rampager to eat.
Ooh, is Robert going to get the Nissa Ultimate?
Is that going to happen? Is that what his game plan is? It looks like it from a snapshot, doesn't it?
Yeah, Daniel's deck doesn't really have a good way of dealing with that Planeswalker unless he boarded in the one quarantine field in his sideboard. Daniel does have a disallow, however, so with the Felidar Guardian in play, if he draws the Saheeli Rai, then he can't just combo off. So
but also disallow's kind of sweet against Planeswalker Ultimates, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is.
You're the one that taught me that, man.
Oh, yeah. I did happen.
I learned it from watching you.
That did happen to me when I was 2-4-1 playing in the Love of the Game bracket at the Pro Tour. My opponent got Liliana up to 7, then clapped his hands together and said, "Oh my God, it's happening!" Then I was like, shook my head. All right, your turn. He ultimates the Liliana, and I go, disallow? And then he goes, oh, right, that's a card.
So brutal.
To be fair, we were in the 2-4-1 brackets.
That's fair, so yeah. Everything goes.
Yeah. It's possible Robert just waits until the Nissa gets to 8 to play around the disallow. Or he can just amass a large army and just minus the Nissa as well.
By the way, Love of the Game bracket is gas. that is pretty sweet. All right. Fournier sitting at a cushy 13 life while Robert Beatty tries to finish him off here, though. Looks like tricky business.
Yeah. So looks like he's attacking with the Rampager and a 2/3 plant.
either of which can be profitably blocked here just by the Felidar Guardian. There's also maybe a Needle Spires or something down there.
I wonder if Daniel's maybe concerned about like a Liliana the Last Hope, which is why he was thinking so long. Because if he blocks and it takes 3 damage and then he plays a Liliana, that's going to be problematic. Walking Ballista also an option, but Walking Ballista would just get the Guardian no matter what. Okay, so Daniel just looking for a Saheeli Rai here. Robert Beatty has 2 cards in hand. It's unlikely that both of them are removal spells.
Yes. Oh, wow. He glimmered into a glimmer? Oh, top bottom?
It looked like they were both spells, and he's just kind of in the tank about what to do with this.
What's going on here?
Oh, well, Daniel only has up 1 mana, so I think it looks like Robert's debating whether or not, or at least feigning whether or not he has a removal spell here for the Felidar Guardian.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we're going to jump back to our main match there. I'll let you know what happens in that one.
Very aggressive start out of Bronson here, but Adam demonstrating how amazing of a card Fatal Push is. Having that 1 mana removal is so huge to be able to swing back kind of the tempo in your favor. And then a turn 2 Gifted Aetherborn. Wow. Did you take a look at Bronson's hand?
No.
He's got 2 Planeswalkers. He's got a Gideon and a Chandra.
Okay, that's business.
Yeah. This is basically this is kind of what he wanted to see in the second game.
Yeah.
Ooh. Who's the aggressive deck now?
Yeah, I mean, this Black Rim Delirium deck is certainly capable of fast starts.
Right. So Bronson opting not to block here. I think his plan is to play a 4th land, play a Planeswalker, and just protect the Planeswalkers as much as he can. I actually think Bronson is looking very good here. Adam Van Fleet's only way to deal with Planeswalkers is 2 copies of Tuda Slaughter, and he's not close to Delirium right now.
Yeah, he can cast Chandra or Gideon, whichever he'd like.
Yeah.
But assume he's just going to go for Chandra. Yeah, and just, do this. Take down the Gifted Aetherborn and just hide behind the Thraben Inspectors.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty hard for Adam to actually have 2 ways to get rid of both Thraben Inspectors here. He does get to eat one of them for free.
Nom nom. Down goes the Thraben Inspector. Yeah.
Grimflayer maybe?
Yeah, that's cute, but this is what Bronson wants, right? He gets to untap with an active Planeswalker. This is his whole game plan.
Exactly, absolutely.
This is what it's all about if you're sitting in Bronson's seat. Now he gets to start generating advantage.
Yeah, he can
More advantage from Chandra.
He can play Gideon this turn, too. He could also just choose to get card advantage from the Chandra, but it's also possible that he's just going to want to use it to use it as a ramp Planeswalker.
Yeah, the ability that gets used less often, but seems to be quite powerful when it does get used.
The thing is, I feel like he's very likely to just play Gideon this turn, so.
Gideon make a guy.
Yeah. Oh, he does have another Chandra in hand as well.
He does. He's also got, interestingly, a Thraben Inspector. He'd love to be able to play both of those.
Right.
Maybe he's going to tick Chandra up here. Yeah, he is going to.
Oh.
The boat.
The boat got boarded in, but
did
not be cast. Adam Van Fleet actually getting closer to Delirium now. He's got an instant creature with the Evolving Wilds in play. Just needs a sorcery.
And Van Fleet quite happy to trade a couple of life to not have to face down the boat in a turn or two.
Yeah, we saw the boat do a lot of work again in the Black-Green Mirror. Not a lot of ways to actually deal with the boat when it's in play.
Stands for best of all time, by the way.
So then the Woat is the worst of all time? That
Yeah,
doesn't
they
sound
haven't
very
they
good,
haven't
though.
printed that yet.
Oh,
Though.
okay. I guess we'll have to wait on that one.
And speaking of waiting, Bronson is gonna wait on Gideon here as well. He is just gonna manage the board by using unlicensed disintegration and another Thraben Inspector rather than just windmilling Gideon.
Yeah.
Interesting line he takes here, though, because if Adam Van Fleet untaps and goes Gearhulk or something, his Planeswalker is going to be under immense pressure.
Yeah, if Adam can find a way to get either Delirium or just play a Gearhulk, it's going to put a ton of pressure. I don't even know if Bronson can come back if Adam did choose to Adam just went land Gearhulk, unless he has a Fumigate in hand. Doesn't look like it's a land Verdish Gearhulk. It's thinking a little too long.
Yeah, we have to assume that would already be on the battlefield. He does not have Delirium. He is one card type off.
Yeah.
He does have the 5th land, but it's to the slaughter.
Hmm.
No Delirium.
Does not have Delirium.
This does not give him Delirium either.
No.
He already had Fatal Push in the yard, so that doesn't change
I wonder
that.
if he has another removal spell. That's the only thing that would make sense to me.
So we should know, though, based on who he's attacking, which I'm not sure. Right, if he has a removal spell, he'll want to attack Chandra, kill the blocker, and kill Chandra, right? But if not, he may just want to attack Bronson.
Yeah.
He attacked Bronson.
Okay.
Well, it's the slow burn here for Adam Van Fleet. He didn't have the exact cards he wanted, but he's working his way through. He just didn't want to trade off Grimflayer for one of the Thraben Inspectors, so he used, one of his important sideboard cards here, To the Slaughter, to kill a Thraben Inspector. That's got to sting.
Yeah. I guess if he felt like he wasn't close to Delirium, he just needed to do that to hope Bronson doesn't have anything else and he can just add to the board.
Risky business.
Yeah. But Bronson currently doesn't really have a great way to protect his Planeswalkers.
No, and that is the thing. That's the fight that Adam's fighting here.
Yeah.
He's Bronson, by the way, added 2
2 red, and I think he's floating a red mana here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Gideon's good.
Gideon is good. Think he's going to make a token and basically just hope that there's no removal spell
Oof.
out of Adam Van Fleet. If Adam draws a removal spell here, he gets to kill the token and also deal with the Gideon that's on the board.
Oh, man.
And if he just finds a way to get Delirium.
Yeah. But he didn't. He did not.
He did not.
And he attacked, instead of attacking the Planeswalkers, he went directly for Bronson, thinking he's just desperate to get Delirium at this point.
Yeah, Adam is in big trouble now. Bronson has an extra copy of Chandra in his hand. So what he can do this turn is just fire off the -3 ability of the Chandra on the Grimflayer, even if it gets Delirium, continue to make tokens, and then just drop the other Chandra for added value. So this game is slipping away. Planeswalker control. This is kind of the game plan that Bronson had in mind for the second game, but he accidentally drew Toolcraft Exemplar. It's like, what's that doing there?
I don't even know if he hit Delirium. Did he put 3 lands in the graveyard there?
I think it was like 2 lands?
2 lands and something?
Yeah. That's a Bronson.
No. This is what you were talking about a minute ago, Paul.
Oh, he accidentally drew another Toolcraft Exemplar.
Yeah. So he's drawn 2 Gideons, 2 Chandras, and a Toolcraft Exemplar.
Yeah. Just keep that clue around forever. It's a 3/2 at least.
It happens.
So, yeah, Bronson has... Yeah, he needs to use the last energy to cast a Chandra. Then probably just plussing it here. He can hit a 1-mana creature. And unfortunately, it doesn't go into the graveyard, so the Scrappy Scavenger will be exiled. But still gets in for a point, and Bronson can still play his Exemplar.
Can still make a night token with Gideon, and
yeah, this is
this is favoring Bronson in a massive way here.
Just 2 unbeatable planeswalkers on the board. Bronson also played an Evolving Wilds this turn. It's possible that he wanted to play that. Oh, did he keep a card on top or no? He might have put all 3 in the bottom.
I think he put all 3
in the graveyard. But when you have an Evolving Wilds in play and you choose to attack with the Grim Flare, often you want to sacrifice the land first because you will not have access to that land if you wanted to keep a card on top of your library. I don't think he's on the draw tireless tracker to get value plan here.
Right.
So.
To be honest, Paul, I don't know what plan he's on at this point. I think that he's looking at his library and thinking to himself, is there even anything in here?
Yeah, he's going to start wondering, all right, I need to start getting ready for...
his flight home?
Yeah, well, his flight home, Pro Tour Nashville,
there you
find
go.
the testing team, you know.
Well, okay, here's an Ishkanah. Does he have Delirium? He's digging for tokens?
No Delirium.
No, good God. I do like that these guys are both... pretty jovial to each other here.
Yeah.
They're having a good time in the top 8. I think I'd be nervous as heck.
Yeah, this is just vanilla Ishkanah, 5 mana, 3/5 reach. That is all.
That is a solid limited playable right there.
Does it pass the vanilla test?
It does. Fortunately, Chandra and Gideon crushed the vanilla test quite handily, and Bronson's kind of doing it.
They definitely do affect the board when you play them.
Man, the saddest Ishkanah all by herself.
Adam playing it out to the bitter end.
I appreciate that. I really do. He's looking at his graveyard like, how do I not have Delirium?
Yeah.
My deck's called Delirium.
It looks like he boarded out those Mind Rack Demons, which probably... I think it's fine to board out in this matchup because of the presence of Unlicensed Disintegration, but of course it makes it a lot more difficult to get Delirium.
Yeah, those are a big engine for Adam.
We're going to see some ultimates here.
I mean, remember the Delirium decks from previous standard iterations? You know, they had multiple card slots dedicated specifically to getting Delirium. I mean, we don't see Vessel of Nascencies flying around.
Yeah, you had Vessels, Grapples, Liliana the Last Hope, and Mind Rack Demons.
And Mind Rack. I mean, they were just dumping cards into their graveyard.
Although those decks really leaned heavily on being able to have Delirium by turn 5 to play Ishkanah, whereas Adam's deck plays like 1 copy in the main, 1 in the sideboard.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced, however, that the second Ishkanah on the sideboard is a good plan if your plan is to sideboard out Mind Rack Demons against the vehicles deck.
I agree. It does hurt. I mean, Traverse Ulvenwald gets worse.
Right.
Now, if they do get to connect with the Grim Flare, then things look fine. It's just hard to do so.
Yeah, it's not easy. You're going to be playing against multiple copies of Fatal Push. You have the Chandra. I mean.
All right, Adam.
What do we have?
Oh, he's got it.
Oh.
He's got the natural obsolescence.
Look, that's value, too. He can't get that back.
No. Adam is winning the battles but losing the war here.
It's just to send a message.
Yeah. He takes a big, deep breath, and I'm sure he's wondering, what is it even in my library that I could get at this point?
Bronson just punting so hard. He could have kept the mana up to sacrifice the Scrap Heap Scrounger in response to a natural obsolescence. Wow.
Wow.
Just the little edges.
Just loose.
I know. And he top-aided this Grand Prix?
He's gonna scrape through to the semis, it looks like.
I feel like he's still going to make it, though.
You think he might pull it through somehow? No, this is the fun part. This is where you get to turn all of your creatures sideways. By the way, that clue is still down there, too, just the rub-in clue.
I have said this before. He is at that phase in the game where he could just do things randomly, and it won't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, double Gideon Emblem.
Double Gideon Emblem. Love it. And Adam is going to have to settle for a quarterfinal exit here, though he is going to block. Block the Thopter, man.
You can at least... Oh, see...
All right, so you take 1,600 damage, and it's a swamp, and that's going to do
More
it.
or less.
Nice run for Adam Van Fleet. He really did kind of run the tables, but you got to feel for him. He's got to shake his head there. He really just didn't get to play Magic in that first game, and it's hard to spot a player a game, you know, in a best 2 out of 3. And like I said, I really give him a lot of respect for having a smile, even if you can tell he's, you know, feeling a little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, we're going to see him in Nashville. And as far as Bronson goes, he just sort of workmanlike worked his way through, and boom, he's in the semifinals.
Oh, yeah.
All right, looks like we are going to catch, well,
Wait.
I feel skeptical given the... All right, they just finished, but I want to know who won. I want to know who won this match, though, before we go to our commercial so that I can tell everybody at home.
Yeah.
And then we will go to our commercial. Because we did leave that last one a bit of a cliffhanger, and I know everybody in the chat was wanting to see, is it the Jeskai Copycat deck or is it the Black Rain Energy deck that is going to advance to...
I'm trying to figure out who won based on like their hand motions.
I know, like
I
based
think
on
the
body
Jeskai
language.
deck won.
I do too. All right, you.
I'm so bad at this.
Robert Vitti wins 2-1, defeats Daniel Fournier. That's going to do it for our quarterfinal coverage here from Pittsburgh. We'll be back after these messages.